here to represent Ukraine's solidarity campaign, but also the European network of solidarity with Ukraine. And I want to say something about culture and identity, because my relationship with Ukraine began in 2012. Working arts, and I was very privileged to be involved in a cultural exchange program with arts organisations such as Ukraine. And it was my first ever encounter with the country, with the people, with the culture, with the energy, with the passion, with the determination to follow a European path. And ever since then, I have been friends of Ukraine. In 2014, I was elected to be a member of the European Parliament. And my first speech in the European Parliament was a speech about Ukraine. And at that time, when the annexation, the illegal annexation of Crimea had happened, hardly anybody was speaking about the violations against the Ukrainian people. And so I became a friend in the European Parliament and European world who could speak up for Ukraine. And that meant that I also did things, for example, like call for the release of Oleg Sentsov, the filmmaker, who had been imprisoned on trumped-up charges. And he went on a hunger strike, for those of you who don't know. He went on a hunger strike for hundreds of days. And finally we managed to get him released. But the stories that are being told through arts and culture, through poetry, through theatre, through music, are really, really important. The unique cultural identity of Ukraine is something that Putin wants to erase. This is a war against a unique country and people. So I understand what Putin is trying to do. The fact that he wants to erase the Ukrainian language. He wants to change history. But we have to speak the truth about what Ukraine is, what it has been, and what it wants to be in the future. So I'm really grateful that this particular rally is also including music, because music is part of Ukrainian heritage and culture. And it also helps us in our fight to resist. It gives us courage. What I'm going to do now is read, I'm going to read a statement that has been made jointly by trade union leaders from across the UK. Now, this is very important to get the trade unions to be behind Ukraine, to help in the humanitarian effort, but also to help to call for arms so that Ukraine can win the war. So 10 trade union leaders have signed this statement. Don't underestimate the significance of this statement. It's very important. So it goes like this. On the 4th anniversary of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, UK trade unions reaffirm solidarity with Ukraine, its workers and unions. Ukraine's workers are not only defending their country, but are standing up for democratic rights, freedoms and labour standards that underpin our movement here in the UK. So our struggle is your struggle. We send our greetings to our sister organisations, the FPU and KVPU, and commit our continuing support to them. As Putin's war of aggression enters its 5th year, Ukraine's workers continue to face unrelenting violence. Systematic attacks on the energy system have plunged towns and cities into darkness, shutting schools and hospitals and placing entire communities at risk. Energy workers are restoring power under fire, often at immense personal danger, to keep people safe in severe winter conditions. Russia's deliberate targeting of civilians and infrastructure is a grave breach of international law and is deepening Ukraine's humanitarian crisis as temperatures fall well below freezing. Working people always bear the heaviest cost of war. On the 1st of February, 15 miners were killed when a Russian drone struck their bus in the Pavlorad district. In territories under Russia's illegal occupation, reports expose forced labour, the suppression of trade union freedoms, and the violent mistreatment of workers alongside wider killing and torture of civilians. Tens of thousands of children have been abducted by Russia and subjected to abuse on an industrial scale. As always, women, oppressed minorities and children also bear the brunt of war. We stand with Ukrainian unions in their call for the restoration of labour rights and for the socially just reconstruction that embeds collective bargaining and rejects deregulation and privatisation. We also stand with Ukrainian and other refugees in the UK and insist that their rights and safety are upheld. The UK trade union movement has a proud history of standing in solidarity with victims of fascism and imperialist aggression. A victory for Putin's regime would embolden authoritarian and far-right forces globally. We therefore reaffirm our support for the Ukrainian people's right to determine their own future, call for the immediate withdrawal of Russian forces from all occupied territories, and support Ukrainian trade unions' appeals for the UK to provide the aid necessary to help secure a just and lasting peace. Thank you. This was signed by Paul Miller, who is the General Secretary of the Trade Union Congress of the United Kingdom. It is a huge win for us on the left to have trade union support now for Ukraine as it continues to fight for democracy for all of us. Slava Ukrainia!